I'm Joseph.
And I am Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Yep.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. This past week, Rosie O'Donnell has been hosting Jimmy Kimmel.
I saw that. Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple of her monologues and an interview she did.
Mm-hmm.
She's so good at that format.
Well, I mean, that was her life for years.
I really like how when she's interacting with the guests, she seems really present.
Mm-hmm.
She was on Amy Poehler's podcast, Good Hang, and she was talking about how Jay Leno, when he was hosting The Tonight Show,
Mm-hmm.
he would have questions on a card.
Yes.
And he would just read the question, and then the camera would focus on the guest, and he would just totally check out and move on to the next thing he's going to say, like look at the cards. Like he was not actually interested in, which I could totally believe. And I would think that would be difficult as a job to keep it engaging.
Yes. I mean, if we were talking the era of Leno and Letterman, I always kind of preferred Letterman, but Letterman seemed to have kind of a vicious glee about him sometimes, especially in all those Madonna stints when she was on.
Well, I think Letterman stayed present by giving his guests a hard time and being a little sarcastic. Like that's how he stayed connected. Versus like a Jimmy Fallon who just seems like a goofball. And there's always some kind of distraction, I think almost to force him to
he's
be present.
He's a pothead. He's a space cadet a bit. I find him charming enough, but I don't find him interesting.
I doubt Rosie's interested in, because, you know, she lives in Ireland with her kid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it would be nice to see her. Because her energy feels good too.
Well, she always seemed kind.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back, you know, I would watch the Rosie show with my mom after school. It's just so sad that she had to hide for so long. And then, you know, I remember her stint on The View, and she was always, you know, you were playing me clips of the Amy Poehler interview and how, you know, she had a lot of moving things, a lot of funny things to say, but talking about how this country as an America gave her this incredible life, and she feels like it's her continued duty to speak up.
Yeah. Moving on to the restaurant section, we tried the Courtyard Kitchen in Santa Monica before a screening of Hotspot. What did you think of the Courtyard Kitchen?
Expensive. I mean, only go for happy hour, but the vibe was nice. I loved the bathroom. I would take a nap in the bathroom. There was a breeze coming in. The smell was beautiful. It was very clean. And I guess that's why I paid as much as I did for my pizza.
I think the restaurant's really cute. I would not sleep in the bathroom, but I do think it's a little spendy for what it was.
Well, even the happy hour, it's like, we take $4 off the pizza. It's like, but the pizza's $32.
The pizza was very good.
It was good. We got the sausage fennel. Mm-hmm.
And then we ordered the butternut squash ravioli, which was also, I think, spendy. And when it came out, there were like 6 ravioli.
There were more than that. I just have a problem eating too fast. But even still, I cut them each ravioli. I cut each one in 4s and ate it as slow as I could.
Did you?
To me, I did. I was trying.
I don't think
I was
that's
trying.
The case, because next thing I know, there are 2 left. And you're like, are you going to eat that? And it's like, well, I've only had 2, so I don't. Can I take my time? And then I left the one that was mine, and you kept looking at it like, you need to eat this.
Yes.
Okay.
Because someone might come take away the food.
You.
Well, also those waiters they kept coming around to look. They were trying to, because this was a fancy restaurant, so they were trying to snatch the dishes up.
Sure, it was also empty, but
just like, because we went back to another place, and you wanted the sauce. That sauce dish got snatched up. You gotta hover over it like a mama bird with her eggs.
I don't love that when they just. Can I sit with my plate for a second? I mean, I don't know. I've never had dinner where I thought they let my plate sit too long. Usually I'm more distracted by how they just want to snatch my plate from right up under me.
Right. Well, you know, a good signal. I always stack up all the dishes so that's a signal of like, we're done.
We ordered some wine and beer. I think I had a espresso martini. It was all fine and tasty. I just think it seems simply overpriced because of the neighborhood it's in.
Yes.
So I don't love that. However, we did visit a candy shop, like Swedish Sweets, I think it's called.
It started with a K. They were Swedish, but it's a brand that they have that shit at AMC. Those little piggies that I buy
Oh,
that have a very particular texture. But yeah, we spied that on the way to the Aero Theater, and we went in, and there were two very bored young women working.
those candies, of course, they charge by the, I believe, quarter pound.
Mm-hmm.
You filled up a bag. It wasn't as expensive as I thought it would be.
I thought I was being very frugal with my selections.
I only loved, I don't know that I loved any of it. Maybe half of it I liked.
There were lots of chemicals that we had, I feel.
And some of the selections were way too sweet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about. There were a couple things though that are like, oh, I get that again. But you know, I made a dumb rookie mistake because you found these rhubarb lemon licorice thingies, and I got really excited, and I had a handful of those, and I did not like those one bit, and then I had to eat the handful.
You made chili.
I did. Kardea Brown's chili.
What did you think?
I liked it. Like with most chilies, I think I liked it a little better the day after, and it was made with brisket, and the texture of that was excellent. You were balking at the number of ingredients, but it was really easy to make.
You also made baked beans from scratch.
I
don't know
did.
how much of scratch it is. Like
It was like
because the beans come in a can, right?
the beans weren't scratched, so let's say 50-50. But there was a lot of stuff added into it. The problem was, so how I've been trying to cook nowadays is if I have something that's going to expire, I craft like a recipe around that, so it's just a game that keeps going forward. Like now I have too much sour cream, but we had a lot of bacon and I did not want that to go bad. So that was why. And then with that, I made, what did I make? Cauliflower mac and cheese. I tried to balance out all the meat.
There is something in the Sorry to This Man section. We reviewed Better Luck Tomorrow, the
Yes.
Justin Lin film on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And we totally forgot to mention Jerry Mathers is featured in the film. Beaver from Leave It to Beaver.
Yes, to be fair, he's really only in one scene, isn't he? But I had every intention of bringing him up. It's so fun, but I mean, even beyond Leave It to Beaver, had a huge a career, a very long career, including the Hitchcock film Trouble with Harry. But I wanted to bring it up too because you recently watched Humoresque with Joan Crawford, and he has a bit part in that.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, I don't. I think it's blink it or miss it in that. It's not like Robert Blake.
Films released we didn't cover: The Magic Faraway Tree.
I think if we had had more time this week, we would have done this because, as you said, you do like Andrew Garfield, and this looks like a fantastical family film about a family that moves to a countryside and finds a magical tree. It's directed by Ben Gregor and co-stars Claire Foy.
Mutiny.
Mutiny, another Jason Statham film directed by Jean-Francois Richet, who actually has done a couple films I liked. Popping to the top of my mind are those two Mayreen Public Enemy films starring Vincent Cassel. I was reading there was some drama because it's an Amazon MGM release, and I think it was on their streaming platform for a couple hours by mistake or something to that effect, and apparently that had disastrous results.
Lastly, Spa Weekend.
I liked all these ladies. I didn't get anything from the press about this, boo-hoo, but Leslie Mann, Isla Fisher, Michelle Buteau, and Anna Faris have a Spa Weekend, directed by John Lucas and Scott Moore, who they haven't been around since. Do you remember that 2019 movie Jexy?
No.
It was dragged through the mud. We saw it. I don't know what I was on, and because my memory, I don't remember anything about that movie, but that got a critical drubbing. It stars that one comedian, Adam. Oh God, what's his name? Adam Devine. Anyway.
Projects of interest: Die Alive.
Megan Park, who directed My Old Ass with Aubrey Plaza, has lined up Zoe Kravitz and Adele Exarchopoulos for her new feature. And both of those together, that's exciting to me.
I don't know what this is. Parish?
Parish, Nicolas Cage in a dystopic vampire film, I believe, who's holed up in a house, kind of like Will Smith in I Am Legend, and doesn't let anybody pass through the front gates, and that's how he stayed safe in this environment. And you used to really like Nicolas Cage, and you don't talk about him too much anymore, but this sounds like a fun Nicolas Cage product. And it's directed by, or going to be directed by, Adam Segal. And we reviewed their last film, which was called Nandor, Fodor, and the Talking Mongoose with Simon Pegg and I believe Minnie Driver. I don't know if you remember that film at all. It's an oddity about a man that supposedly had the talking mongoose.
This past week on Patreon, like I said, we reviewed Better Luck Tomorrow, Southern California, early 2000s teen crime thriller.
Mm-hmm.
The Mafu Cage, a batshit crazy, I would say, psychological horror film.
Yes, directed by Karen Arthur, with Lee Grant and Carol Kane.
And Freaky Tales, the 2024 film that was horribly marketed.
Yes.
Because I actually really enjoyed it, and it was so different from what I thought it would be based on the marketing.
Same with Jay Ellis and Pedro Pascal, and it's a love letter to Oakland.
We're also currently reviewing the Shards. Really, it's Nick reviewing it. I had no interest in watching it. For people who are curious, though, I do contribute to episode 5 a bit.
Yes, I did. You had a little extra time the other night, and I did expose you to it so you could see what the I think, it's more fun when you do see it, but to see what I was being exposed to and to put faces to names, and you were not impressed, and I didn't think that you would be.
So if people want to listen to those, they can give us money on Patreon. Unfortunately, there is an entry in the obituary section. Hayden Panettierre died at the age of 36.
Mm-hmm. Tragically, unexpectedly. I think it was quite a shock.
She was found unresponsive in an apartment in Greenville, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no official announcement of how she died, but as details come out, also this is shortly after her memoir was released. We know she had issue with drugs. I understand there was an attempt to, before emergency services got there, to revive her and make use of Narcan. So I guess if we put 2 and 2 together, it seems like perhaps it could be a drug overdose, but this was quite shocking. I, of course, know who she is. I think I first became familiar with her from the show Heroes. I never saw Heroes, but I know her dating her co-star, Milo Ventimiglia, was such a big deal back then. So I remember all of that. I don't know that I really have seen her in anything until the one Scream movie.
Well, because she was in Scream 4, and so then she came back during the reboot of that franchise for Scream 6. And
so I don't think I knew she was in Scream 4, but I remember liking her in Scream 6.
She was my favorite part of Scream 6, and we reviewed that, and I believe we were talking about how somebody needs to give her, hand her own franchise or her own series. I mean,
I thought she was a lot of fun in Scream 6.
Yes.
But I'm sure this is shocking to not only her fans, but her loved ones. And she is so young. This is on the eve of her 37th birthday. I think actually today is her birthday, the day we're recording.
Yeah, she would have been 37.
Yeah, so
I think because she was a child actor, and I think that to the millennials that were familiar and big fans of hers, I mean, it's shocking because it's a drastic reminder of our mortality. But yeah, I when somebody sent it to me on Instagram, because I'm the one that told you, I thought it was a joke.
I was shocked for sure because I knew she was young, and my impression of her was this squeaky clean, perfect little princess, not knowing anything about her and some of her struggles, which is naive of me to think that she wouldn't have issues. But I just didn't see her in a situation like this. And again, we don't know how she died. It could have been natural causes, which is also tragic. But yeah, shocking.
What's that Robin Williams quote about, you absolutely never know what anybody is going through at any time. And just because, the glamorousness of the supposed industry, more often it's not. And especially with child stars and the things that they've had to go through, especially young women. I don't know. It's just yet another reminder of kind of how toxic and devouring it is.
The secret film this week was Nick's choice, and Nick chose the 2006 teen comedy Bring It On, All or Nothing, starring Hayden Panettierre.
How about that?
I think it's obvious why you chose this one.
I did. I originally, before I'd learned of her death, I was going to pick a Danny Boyle film, but that can be tabled, and he's still alive, so that can be brought up at another time. But yeah, I felt very strongly about picking something she was in. I kind of wanted to, because I've always wanted you to watch this 2003 made for HBO film called Normal, starring Jessica Lange and Tom Wilkinson, who's now also dead, as a trans man that discovers his identity much later in life. And Hayden just has a small role in that. So I wanted to talk about something where she was front and center. And it was between this and I Love You, Beth Cooper. Now, Bring It On, the original, the OG one from 2000, which came out while I was in high school. I didn't see that for the very first time until 2023, because the people I rolled with in high school were heterosexual stoners. So that was not part of the brand at the time. And this whole franchise has passed me on by. So I've not seen the second one, and I don't think it matters. But I was completely ignorant of every other film in this franchise. So I was very happy to see it co-star Solange. And I'll just say right out the gate, I think I enjoyed this film more than you did, strangely.
Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, I Love You, Beth Cooper has a 14% and Bring It On has a 20%.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I Love You, Beth Cooper is much more popular. It has a lot more reviews. Both are bad, according to critics. I chose Bring It On, All or Nothing as my vote between the two because I thought it'd be more fun to talk about. I think you did like this movie more than I did. I will say Hayden Panettierre is really cute in it, and her chemistry with Solange made me wish that they could have done something together.
Yes.
Outside of this horrible franchise.
Yes, and I think that is what I found so appealing is those two and an actor that I was unfamiliar with named Gustavo Carr. But I Solange, it's just too bad that she couldn't have been in more things too. I really liked her screen presence. She felt really light and carefree. I was so
Solange,
yeah. I liked her. I don't understand why she couldn't have been offered some other film projects, or maybe she didn't want to. Who knows?
Well, she had a kid at like 17, I think. So she, at the point when she was filming this, had a toddler running around and clearly doesn't need to work because, for people who don't know, Solange's sister is Beyonce. So
no, it's not about needing to work.
But I'm saying she's a young lady who had a kid and seemed really focused on her music and her creativity. So I would assume that doing shit like this didn't feed her soul.
Maybe not. And also, again, talking about Hollywood in a general sense, where there's not a ton of opportunities for women of color, or especially in the mid 2000s, that might seem lucrative or interesting, or maybe she wasn't well reviewed enough for her to think that it's worth the trauma of the potential criticism, because this film was not well received. But I think she does have screen presence, and I really liked her. I think that the cast seemed to put in a lot of work with the physicality demanded of these cheerleader films. These, it's like those dance films as well. Even going back to Break-In, they're not good, but the performers are doing so much. You have to, I think, give props to what is going on screen that is talent.
I don't think Solange is that compelling on screen beyond the fact that she has hair very similar to her sister during that period. So they look very similar. So that was kind of the thing that would strike me as like, oh, she looks like Beyonce. I don't think she's a very good actor in this movie, but
I think
her
she's
chemistry
fine
with Hayden, who I think is much better as a performer in this film.
Yes,
it makes it better, but I don't think at this point she could have led a film.
No, but that's the thing. It's about,
you're just being, it's okay that you like it more than I do.
Well, it's about giving people the opportunity to grow. There are a ton of people that kind of learn as they go, i.e. Brad Pitt, for instance, and that's okay. But if somebody has that, what they like to say, the it factor, it's like, why not let them mess around a little bit and do some shit?
Okay. The premise of this movie: a transfer student to a rough high school tries joining the cheerleading squad, and she not only faces off against the head cheerleader, but against her former school in preparation for a cheer off competition. To say this story is predictable would be kind.
Oh, I was giving you all the beats. I'm like, guess what's going to happen next?
Before we go through the story, just some random facts. This film wasn't originally called All or Nothing. The working title was Bring It On Yet Again.
Which has a tiredness to it, doesn't it?
Well, because the second film's called Bring It On Again.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, someone realized that trying to keep that naming convention up would have been crazy as hell.
Bring it on yet again.
Hayden Panettierre was only like 15, 16 during the production.
I mean, she seemed very poised.
Yeah. And even her co-star, Gus Carr, commented on how struck he was by her professionalism and experience, but despite being so young.
Yeah, because Solange is about like 1920.
Rihanna is in this film, which we'll get to,
Mm-hmm.
but it coincides with her single Pon de Replay, which had just sort of become a breakout hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I didn't know that this movie and that song were really
synonymous.
Synonymous.
Inextricable.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm, of course, very familiar with the song.
I'm too, but
yeah. I didn't know Rihanna was in the movie until you said, "Oh, Rihanna's in it," as it was playing. But yeah, it's fun to see her. In fact, honestly, I feel like Rihanna has more screen presence than Solange in this movie.
Oh, but it's so fun getting them to see it in the same frame. I don't know. That was exciting to me. And I saw Rihanna in the opening credits and I'm like, did you know she's in this? And then Hayden's driving early on and you hear SOS. I'm like, oh, well, Rihanna's going to be playing herself.
The soundtrack is very 2006.
Well, it opens with Gwen Stefani.
We have Gwen Stefani, Avril Lavigne, Weezer, 50 Cent, Solange has a track on it. Mm-hmm. Even Hayden Panettierre, who I think I knew had an album or a music career at some point. Mm-hmm. She has a song that's on the soundtrack.
But, well, and then of course, I had that Gwen Stefani. That was her first solo album, right? Angel Music, Love Baby, Cancer, or whatever. And what a disappointment. Side note. Gwen Stefani. Also, I maintained the worst concert I ever saw, and that was before I knew she was mega. Anyhow, yes, I feel like they paid a lot of money. I don't think this had a theatrical release, did it? I think this went straight to video.
And we'll get to the cheers, but apparently some of the competition stunts shown in the film and their outfits are not competition regulation. Which I could imagine. A lot of it looks really dangerous. The rival cheer team is wearing these pretty skimpy midriff cheerleading outfits that I can't imagine would be appropriate.
I always feel that for the people that show up to gaze upon these nubile young, almost, a higher percentage of females doing this and seeing these young ladies' pudendas all out. It's like watching those toddlers and tiaras things. And there is an inappropriate aura to it.
Hayden's last name is misspelled in the credits.
Oh, it is. Panettone. Hayden Panettone.
Ugh. Okay. Going through this story. I mean, there's nothing to it. So Hayden Panettierre plays Brittany. She's the queen bee of this affluent Pacific Vista High School, which I'm not quite sure where we think it should be when we first see her walking onto campus. Is that a Weezer song about Beverly Hills?
Oh, is it? I was never really into Weezer.
Either way, there are lyrics referring to Beverly Hills, so I assumed that they were in Beverly Hills, but clearly it's affluent.
They're acting more like Orange County, but
Brittany seems to have the perfect teenage life. She's captain of the cheerleading squad. She's popular. She's rich. She's dating the football quarterback. She has a group of quote unquote best friends. These bitches are raggedy as hell, but they seem to worship her.
Well, she's not too bright about reading all the red flags around her. Yes.
And as a cheerleader, Brittany is supposed to be very good.
Top tier.
But everything falls apart when Brittany's father loses his job or gets
I
demoted
thought
or
it's unclear. He says he's devoted. The company's moving across the city, and we're going to be moving to Crenshaw Heights immediately.
the scene where the parents have to tell Brittany feels like it should be comedic the way it's handled, but there are no jokes. And Brittany's just being a brat.
And also, so Crenshaw Heights is also made up. This might, I don't know how popular this film was when it came out, but a lot of people talk about Crenshaw like it is a place and it's just a street. So the implications, I think it's funny that they chose that name to indicate.
Well, I think because the idea is that it's supposed to be predominantly Black and Latino, working class.
Right.
But
but Crenshaw, the street runs through the city. But I like, as I think of it, that's a kind of an interesting name they chose.
I think for the year, it makes sense what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not subtle in any way. What they're trying to exemplify is culture shock, which we'll get to, but doesn't really make Brittany as a character makes no damn sense, but we'll get to it.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
So the scene where Brittany shows up to Crenshaw Heights is kind of funny because she rolls up in her VW New Beetle convertible, blasting what someone would say is like white girl music.
Yep.
And she's totally oblivious to the fact that she's sticking out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And her rich white girl mannerisms and clothing attitude, everything makes her a target. And as soon as she walks onto campus, she bumps into Camille, played by Solange, and her crew. And Camille is immediately put off by Brittany. Like, she has no interest in her.
Well, even before we get that, we have a couple of other characters commenting on her as she walks by, including Gary Leroy Gray of The Cosby Show. I was howling at the scene at the shade being thrown because he goes, "Oh, we got snow on campus."
Did you get the sense his character was gay, maybe?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Gary Leroy Gray plays Tyson and Gus Carr plays Jesse. Tyson and Jesse are part of the cheer squad.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse is, in real life, that actor seems obviously gay, but in the movie, he's not. He actually has feelings for Hayden's character. But Tyson, it feels like he's overcompensating.
Definitely trying way too hard. Because then he also says to her, to Brittany, by the way, my mother said if I had been born a girl, I was going to be named Brittany Alyssa. Thank God. Anyhow, Brittany comes up and he goes, "Do you have any black in you?" And she says no. And he goes, Would you like some?
Well, he's always talking about girls with Jesse. And at one point he says he's horny. I don't know. He was giving me a vibe. But the main thing is, and we're getting ahead a little bit, but at a point Rihanna shows up and Tyson fangirls out.
He does.
And when they clock his ass, he says, "Oh, well, I'm just acting like how girls would act if they saw Rihanna." But anyway, getting back to Camille and her crew, she has two main friends. One is named Letty, and the other is named Carisha.
Letty is played by Francia Reiza, and Carisha, who they... sometimes she sounds like Croatia. Giovanni Samuels, who also is a vibrant little spot in this film.
She's the only character who didn't annoy me.
She's
Everyone
funny.
else is vile and stupid and
they're teenagers.
Contradictory.
They're teenagers, which
Carisha was the only one who I liked.
She was
like she didn't rub me the wrong way at any moment.
She was a constant. I like that. She kept saying on the sidelines, like, "Can I cut her? Can I cut her?"
So of course the shock of moving to a new neighborhood, very different from where you're from, but part of Brittany's old crew at Pacific Vista is Winnie.
Winnie is...
well, she's just racist.
Wretched racist.
That's her main problem. But Winnie is very jealous of Brittany. Winnie is like second in charge of the cheer team, clearly wants the top spot. When she finds out Brittany, Hayden's character, is leaving, she gets excited because I guess the rules are the person who got the second most votes becomes cheer captain.
Okay.
I don't know why these bitches even mess with Winnie because she's vile, but...
She is vile. Think Eve Harrington as played by Bryce Dallas Howard in The Help.
But Winnie tells Brittany, "Oh, once you're done with us, you can never cheer again.
Okay.
And if you do, you'll be a cheer whore."
Okay.
So that's floating around in Brittany's mind. Also, Brittany is longing for her friends, so she seems to have a little bit of trouble moving on. But Brittany actually auditions to be part of the Crenshaw Heights Warriors cheer team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear that, she's trying to prove something, but also she can actually cheer.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where she auditions with Solange as captain is kind of amusing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where we see the biggest sort of growth in Brittany, is that now that she's no longer this popular girl who's cheer captain with all the built-in stuff that goes along with it, at Crenshaw Heights, she has to kind of earn respect.
Yeah, and I think that's where there are a lot of cutting of corners with her, because she rises to the occasion smoothly. I mean, this is the first time a rich, a wealthy young white woman is having to actually confront her whiteness, her privilege, and she does not bat an eye. As opposed to something like, a comparison in my mind was something like Julia Stiles and Save the Last Dance.
Well, let's talk about that, because I find her character so odd. When we first meet her and she's with her little stupid friends at Pacific Vista, it just seemed like she had no confidence to stand up to Winnie.
But then again, without any real sort of conflict.
Well, I mean, there is kind of conflict. The first time we see her with Winnie and the crew, there's another girl who's part of the team who they keep saying is fat. And this young lady is nothing of the sort.
No, that was upsetting me. Brianna, yes.
But Winnie, I mean, it was very Sir Mix-a-Lot Baby Got Back. Like, oh my God, she's just so black.
Yes.
Winnie's acting like that. And she's shorter than Hayden Panettierre. And I think Hayden Panettierre is like half an inch away from getting a handicap placard. Like, she was that short. And Winnie is even smaller. So she just looks extreme. She says extreme things. She's saying that this other girl on the team is too fat and Brittany needs to say something. And Brittany doesn't have the courage.
Well, she doesn't see the necessity of it. She
tells the girl, you need to lose weight. But then the other girls in the crew seem like they flip-flop. Like,
well, it's actually a microcosm for what's going on in Congress with the Democrats. Brittany's very much like that.
I know teenagers are fickle and immature, but it just, for Brittany to then show up at Crenshaw Heights.
What I mean by lack of conflict is that she still has everything that she wants or needs. And it's a very passive way that she handles this. She hasn't ever been challenged to hold her own.
I think out of necessity, Brittany has decided that she needs to earn respect because she doesn't have any other collateral to hold on to. Mm-hmm. But I'm still thinking, aside from all of that, the way this lady walks into Crenshaw Heights, she doesn't seem afraid of anything. Like, even going through security to get into the school, nothing phases her. And she's not afraid of these kids who try to step up to her. But then we get a scene, I think it's the first time we see her driving back to her new home in Crenshaw Heights. Mm-hmm. And she runs in like she's afraid she's going to be shot.
Yes. Like, there are things that...
It's just very inconsistent.
It's very inconsistent.
The way her character is written, but also her friends. I think Camille and her crew seem very consistent, but Winnie and those other two heifers, they just don't make any sense to me. Although there is one of them, I don't know her name, but she's supposed to be the dumb one.
Oh yeah, kind of like Amanda Seyfried and
I thought that was
Girls.
Funny.
She's funny, but it's a very one note kind of shtick. I think maybe you could make an argument for the naivete of a privileged young white woman, not, kind of pulling a Karen as she walks into the school saying, what is this, LAX? But she's never really hazed. She's never really taken to task, I think, is one of this film's major flaws.
The main thing pushing the plot forward is Rihanna is holding a competition to find cheerleaders to appear in her next music video. So it's not like the first movie where there's this big cheer competition coming. It's really an opportunity to dance with Rihanna. So there's this competition, and the minute it's announced how this movie is going to go, because when Brittany gets to school at Crenshaw Heights, her first class appears to be a history class. Mm-hmm. And she's told by the teacher, oh, we don't have books, we don't have computers, because clearly we don't have money.
Mm-hmm. And you got to write down everything on the whiteboard. Ugh.
And the prize for the Rihanna thing is that your school will get a bunch of computers. Also,
isn't that so shitty? Hold that over these kids' heads.
The rival team Pacific Vista is led by a really racist white girl, and we're told Rihanna's going to pick the winner. So ain't no way Rihanna's going to pick.
Exactly.
You know she's going to pick Crenshaw Heights. But we have to go through that. And I will say, what makes me give this film a thumbs down ultimately is the final third is just really hard to sit through.
Well, it's dumb for sure. But if we had children, this would be something I would show my 7th grader. And I'd watch them. I'd watch it with them gleefully. I think that's at the capacity we're at with it.
It does have a message I would support.
Yes, it focuses on kindness and empathy and being interested in people that aren't like yourself. And in obvious, but I wouldn't say I was never annoyed at this film. And I think that, for children should see it.
Another thing that I would also want a teenager to witness is Brittany is a virgin, but she's dating the star quarterback Brad, and he's a pig.
Jake McDormand. Well, and then, we get to see Brittany, as I was kind of trying to say, as a young woman in a daze, basically, when you're handed everything to you. And upon her eyes being open, the film does do a decent enough job of watching her have the realization that these people that she used to be so infatuated with are shitty.
Well, what I was trying to say is Brittany does stand firm in her pledge to say, I'm not ready to have sex with you, so I'm not going to do that. So we see Brad being a pig. When Brittany leaves to go to the other school, it becomes clear that Brad's running around with other girls. But a couple of things are happening because she's still planning on going to the homecoming dance with her boyfriend Brad, even though she goes to a different high school. But Jesse, the boy on the Crenshaw Heights cheer team, likes her and she likes him. And you've already mentioned this, but there's kind of a sad scene because Brittany, now that she's really involved with the Crenshaw Heights Warriors cheer team, she forgets about Pacific Vista's homecoming. So she has to make up a lie to skip out on cheer. And she tells everyone her dog has died.
Her dog, Nike.
Her dog, Nike, has died. But really, she's trying to have that night open so she can go to homecoming. So the night comes, I believe it's a Friday night. And Camille and Jesse roll up to her house, which is kind of funny because Camille rolls up like, damn, my house is nicer than this.
Camille had her suspicions.
But they show up with flowers. And when they get there, they see, oh, this bitch is dressed up to go to a dance.
With this asshole boyfriend that has already been rude to Jesse because he works at night as a pizza delivery man.
Yeah, and Brad's really rude, saying he's a loser for working. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean...
But he wouldn't be my friend.
He's at the level of these little asshole children in the Shards right now, by the way.
But Camille tells Brittany, you're off the team because clearly you've chosen
to lie to me.
Well, it's not even the lie. She said, you've shown us whose team you're on.
Exactly.
So there's a betrayal there, but the show must go on. So they're preparing for the cheer off to win this opportunity with Rihanna.
In front of Rihanna, who is not guarded. She is just standing there. Anybody could go up to her.
But this is where we get the inevitable battle between Pacific Vista and Crenshaw Heights. And I just thought all of this was so crunchy. They don't even try to show any other cheer teams.
It's rote. Oh, but we didn't talk about the crumping.
Oh, no, we're going to get to it.
Okay, all right.
But just to get to the end, they battle it out. Of course, it's going to come. We only see Pacific Vista and Crenshaw Heights perform. And when they both finish, it's like, okay, the judges are going to vote. And it's like, we only saw 2 teams. So it's going to have to be the 2 we saw. And of course, like, okay, it's between Pacific Vista and Crenshaw Heights.
Yeah.
And then Rihanna, that's where she picks the winner.
Yes.
And Winnie just starts saying really racist things. And Rihanna's like, oh, okay.
She says something about how the Warriors are ghetto. And then Rihanna has to look like, do you see who you were talking to?
So, of course, Rihanna's like, well, in light of this.
Well, no, Rihanna does have something profound to say.
She does. Well, again, I think Rihanna's more interesting on screen than Solange, but
because she says a lot of talented people have come out of the ghetto, and she said something to the effect of like, I don't judge people.
Well, she says it doesn't matter where you're from; it's what you do.
Exactly, what you bring to the table.
So, based on what I saw today, Crenshaw Heights is the winner, and baby, we get the most cheesy ass green screen
Yes, but
performance of Pon de Replay with the Crenshaw Heights
trust
Warriors cheer
trust
team.
trust that I would watch that on repeat over ever watching Honey starring Jessica Alba ever again. I thought it was cute, and when are you ever gonna? It felt like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, like this cheesy little moment. It was cute.
Ultimately, I think the film is trying to say that, well, obviously, like being privileged doesn't automatically make you superior,
Exactly.
but also privilege could be easily taken away.
Well, I mean, look at the fall from grace for Ms. Panettiere's life. I mean, her old friends are calling her white trash, and it's just like her dad got demoted, and they had to move, y'all. Like that was all it took for you. Okay,
But there's nothing subtle.
which remember I made you watch that Shirley Temple film, The Little Princess.
Yeah.
Where she's abused. Oh my God.
Going through my notes, the film opens with Hayden at a dance. So you assume it's like, oh, she's at prom or something.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, she gets up with her crew and starts doing a cheer barefoot.
Well,
I believe it's to Gwen Stefani's What You Waiting For.
No, they're dancing to What You Waiting For. That stops, and then they announce the homecoming king and queen. And it's herself as the queen, and Brad, played by Jake McDorman. And then they go into this really complicated, like she has to defend herself in verse while dancing about how much she deserves the crown. And I think I said, like, this seems like a lot of work for this event.
It was so crunchy. I was hoping it was a dream, and it was a dream. Actually a nightmare, because we find out that Hayden was having this nightmare while sitting in class. And when she wakes up, because the finale of the dream is that she shits on herself.
Well, she farts.
Or farts. So when she wakes up, she screams, "I didn't fart." And all the kids in class are like, "Are you okay?"
How much more would you have respected this film if just a big bunch of dookie just fell on all those girls holding her up?
I feel like with a few tweaks, this could have been a really smart, interesting teen movie.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But it just feels so basic. So basic.
We didn't talk about the director at all.
Who's the director?
Steve Rash.
What do you know from him?
You know a couple things from him. He's been around since the 70s. He did the Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey, which got Gary Busey his Oscar nod. And do you know that I've never seen that, and I would love to. The film he did after that is horribly reviled, which I think we have a podcast review of that, Under the Rainbow, with Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
About the little people in the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have a friend whose favorite film, so he says, Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey.
Oh, Bo?
From 87. So this director, Steve Rash, he was doing this formula in the 80s, which was kind of like that. And it feels like there's an attempt to kind of recycle that. And maybe if this hadn't been tethered to this kind of franchise, he would have been more successful. And we have Alison Faust as the screenwriter, who worked on a number of notable things, including Scary Movie 2, and is a woman of color. So it feels, from Compton, by the way. So maybe that's where we get Crenshaw Heights. That's her shout out to that. But I can feel the reverberations of things there. And I think that based on what kind of film this was and what it's following, maybe that just kind of got whittled away.
When we first see the exterior of Pacific Vista High, did you notice there was a big sign saying Diversity Week?
Oh, I don't think I did notice that.
So I was expecting there to be something with like exchange students, maybe from Crenshaw Heights, and that's how they get mixed up. But it almost makes me think that perhaps there were some rewrites. Because what is the significance of having Diversity Week at Pacific Vista if nothing comes of it, except if the joke is we're focusing on this racist ass Winnie, it is Diversity Week at school. But that feels really lame. So I'm wondering if they had to make a switch and just make it like, oh, Brittany and her family have to move to the ghetto. I don't know. This feels kind of slapshot and rough around the edges.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there is a little bit of diversity in PV, because we do have Amber, played by Cindy Chu, who is not really a nice person, even though she does come around a little bit.
When Winnie tells Brittany she can no longer cheer, they make her bury her pom-poms.
I mean, the, these children take this too seriously. And also, why would you do her? Brittany's mom has, played by Kirsten Warren, Pam. She has a nice line about like that. Why did you promise to stop cheerleading? Your real friends will want you to be happy.
When I was younger in school in the early 90s, and I didn't have friends, so it wasn't like I was approached to do raggedy things often, but every once in a while when someone would try to get me to do something, I would always kind of try to play it off like, oh, I can't do that because my parents will think it's devil worship, or like I would always try to make it like it's religious and my parents would lose their minds, even though that's not anything that they had ever said to me. But
so you were a con artist. You were like Sigourney Weaver in Heartbreakers.
Well, you know what it made me think? When I were in high school, if someone told me, oh, you can't write for the school newspaper anymore, you have to bury your press pass, I'd say, oh no, my parents would think that's devil worship. I can't do that.
God.
But anyway,
the raggedy shit I would get up to, my Lord, the things,
when we meet Jesse,
yes,
and they're doing like cheer stuff, he says, y'all should see the crump moves I came up with. And for people who don't know, crumping is a style of dance that there was a documentary that I believe was quite popular about crumping that I've seen.
Yeah, we watched it.
And a lot of hip hop back in that era would feature crumping, and oftentimes the artists, dancers who would crump, K-R-U-M-P, would wear like almost like clown makeup, and they do in this film as well. It was not on my dance card to be confronted with crumping today in this movie. Like, it's prominent in the film.
It is. Dare I say magical? Oh my God. Well, okay, so it comes up because Solange is not available for practice one day. She's got something going on. So Letty is instructing in her place, and the men have taken over a majority of the gymnasium, and they're crumping, and Brittany mistakes it for fighting and tries to break up Tyson and Jesse because she thinks they're actually fighting, and they're like, no girl, you got to channel your anger, these are moves. And then they teach her, and then she goes, oh, this is what we need to win for Rihanna, why don't we add crumping to our routine? And then everybody's frightened of what Camille will think. And I wrote down, why would Camille not like crumping?
So they do a full rehearsal of crumping. Camille shows up and they ask, do you like it? And she says, hell no.
Hell no.
Part of the reason, though, is
that she was being undermined.
Well, no, Brittany asks Camille, why do you still perform the way you do? Because a lot of your moves are in violation. So you're always losing points, which means you're never going to win a cheer competition. And Camille says, well, we're not interested in winning. We like that our dances show everyone we're the best. So I kind of thought Camille's aversion to crumping was that's not what's going to get people to know they're the best. Ultimately, she does turn around, but someone tells someone crumping is street theater.
Yes.
Improv the anger.
Improv the anger, girl.
Like, oh my God.
You're a white girl that has to be at this ghetto school. You should be more mad than anyone. Doesn't Tyson tell her that? It's like, okay, now, come on.
When someone accuses Brittany of being racist, she says, some of my best friends live next door to Black people. I thought that was very funny.
I mean, and she doesn't say it ironically either.
We see Brittany go to the cafeteria at Crenshaw Heights.
That Black lady.
The cafeteria lady, it brought up a memory that I hadn't thought about in a while. But my junior year of high school, for half the year, I had to go to a different high school for like a scholarship opportunity, which ended up panning out. So it was a smart choice. But this high school wasn't as nice as the high school I went to. And I didn't have friends anyway, so it didn't feel any different for me to be somewhere where I don't know anyone. But there was a cafeteria lady there who had a young daughter who my mom had babysat and would actively, you know, sometimes the lady would say, can you watch my daughter? So I knew this woman, but because I didn't go to the high school, I didn't even realize she was a lunch lady. Man, I would say the highlight of me going to that school for half a year, besides getting a scholarship, was that lunch lady would hook me the hell up every day.
Oh.
And I got pretty chunky.
Oh.
Because I would just grab all the things: pizza, cookies, soda, chips,
Oh, well,
fries.
I mean, you're giving it to me? Yeah.
Yeah. And then at that point, I was still living with my family. But my senior year of high school, my parents moved out of state and I stayed because I had all these opportunities. And I lost so much weight because I didn't have my mom's cooking. And then I wasn't going to that high school anymore where the cafeteria lady was hooking me up. But Brittany's ass rolls up to this lunch line talking about y'all got vegan, gluten-free, whatever. And that lady just slaps what looks like 3-day-old hamburger helper onto her plate.
It looked like some kind of hash, but I bet that probably had a little bit of flavor.
Well, I grew up with free lunches, so I was always very happy to get those lunches, and they always tasted good to me. The cafeteria pizza, the chicken nuggets. Also, the LA Unified School District coffee cake is legendary. In fact, there is a chain of coffee shops in LA that actually sells that recipe. And I've bought it before. It tastes just like it. Now, this is not something anyone who doesn't have a sense memory of it would like, but I have fond memories of it.
Oh, well, I think that there were free lunches till junior high, and then we had to pay. And I'm pretty sure I've told you about that girl that had this huge crush on me. Her name was Christy. And my raggedy little stoner friends, Christy would offer to give me money every day. And
her milk money?
Yeah.
And you took it.
Of her own accord. No, my friends were like, you better take that money and you better get us some fries with it. So it became a ritual where Christy would just come smile at me with her mouth full of braces, and I'd say hi, and she'd palm $2 to me, and then I'd get fries that my friends would eat. Poor Christy.
You know, and not that anyone offered to be nice to me in school, but if they had, I probably would have felt bad to take their money.
I did.
Strangely,
I felt terrible.
Though, at my current position in life, if anyone wants to give me money or gift cards to nice restaurants or just buy me nice gifts in general, the P.O. box is listed in the description of this episode.
Although there came
I deserve nice things with everything I'm put through. Of course you do. And living with Nick, I feel like
not because of living with me.
If there are any people with expansive wealth out there, I will accept cars. I will accept.
You know that
I don't really like jewelry. I own.
Okay. Yeah,
I have a ring.
Why don't you just put a wish list on the YouTube page?
I think wish lists are tacky.
Oh, that's tacky. Okay.
No, I want to be surprised.
Okay, I'm talking about. Okay.
I want the key to a Maserati with the registration in the P.O. box. I want to be surprised. I like cologne, candles. I don't like jewelry. I have one nice watch that I started to wear, but I don't know that I need another watch.
Okay. Did we clear that blockage?
And of course, money.
Yes. Money. Oscar Isaac. Money. You know, that Christy did get me out of a sticky wicket once because I had gotten into some trouble and had to pay back a large amount of money, and instead of buying the fries, I did end up having to pocket that money myself for a couple months. That did help me. Anyhow, I cleared my blockage there too.
Getting back to Brittany, when she tries out for the Crenshaw Heights Warriors cheer team in front of Solange, she is so confident, so sassy. I mean, pretty much the first day she steps foot on Crenshaw Heights campus, she is confident. But when we see her try out and ultimately say, she gets offered a spot and she's like, I don't need this. I just came to show y'all what I can do. I just don't understand why she didn't have that confidence with her friends, because they're still dogging her out and she can't say anything.
Because she comes in with the attitude that she is better than these people. I believe that is why.
You know, actually, that makes sense. And that's what makes Brittany not likable to me. I think Hayden Panettierre as Brittany is really cute, and I thought her smile and her energy was really cute.
It was cute. Well, she comes around. She has some growth.
So the actor I really liked, but the character, I don't know. She's a little too vile for me, to the point where when you come around, like if I knew this girl
before,
it's too late.
I agree.
You have done and said too many things. You've acted a fool for a little too long.
You played my face.
And so now that you've hit rock bottom. And also, bitch, you don't even live in a house as nice as mine. No.
Exactly. Yes.
Like, if I can use you for my own benefit, sure, girl, you can be on the team. But I would feel a way about her until I read about her death. I don't know.
I agree with you, but forgiveness and grace are a thing, they say, that
You know who says that? People
Who?
who need a lot of forgiveness. I don't say. I don't rock with that, but you do clearly.
Well, somebody it has to start
because
somewhere.
you need it. But
I maybe used to. I think I'm pretty good. But I'm pretty fly right now. I haven't done anything that bad.
To your little raggedy friends. But anyway, another funny moment is Jesse, who clearly likes Brittany, asks her after I think a practice, let's go to the beach. And so we see them drive and walk into a building, and you can tell from the scenery they are nowhere near the beach. It looks like they're in Boyle Heights. And they walk into this high rise, and she's like, this isn't the beach. And he's like, oh, this is what my grandparents used to call or my parents used to call the beach. They're from Brooklyn. So they're sitting on this rooftop, and I do have to commend whomever shot this scene because it is the smoggiest day. And I don't know if it's green screen or they were actually on a rooftop, but it is so smoggy. And we see the downtown skyline, which feels very accurate to what it's like living here. And Brittany's crazy ass goes, everything looks better up here.
Well, like, you got to say something, right? Well,
sometimes when I look at the sky in LA, especially like when I'm up, like if I'm in the Hollywood Hills looking towards downtown.
Oh yeah, all that time in the hills.
It's easy. Sometimes like, do I have cataracts? Because everything looks so blurry and cloudy.
I'm on that tussin
and brown.
I just had that tussin and I can't see straight. Speaking of Boyle Heights, hopefully they weren't in a building with rotten meat. Boyle Heights is going through right now, y'all, if you don't know.
Well, yeah, a facility that housed food products caught on fire, and the city's been having a hard time getting it cleaned up, which has led to a lot of vermin.
LA is, where was it a couple of years ago? In Carson. Remember that chemical plant?
Well, my aunt lives very close to that location with the fire, and my mom visits her often, and she was like, yeah, it's like for a while afterwards, the smell was unbearable.
We almost lived in Boyle Heights.
We saw a very interesting house, but it was also kind of like,
well, oh my God, that backyard. It was interesting. Yeah. I liked it enough. What could have, should have, probably better that didn't happen.
Well, the neighbors,
yeah.
On one side of this house were those people who go around collecting pallets, like the wooden pallets and cardboard boxes. So their entire front yard was just stacks of broken down cardboard boxes and wooden pallets.
You know what that's going to smell like in the rain? As Morgan Freeman says, he's a collector.
At one point, Winnie calls Brittany a wigger. This is at the competition.
That's right. The shade in this movie, I was impressed by.
I will say, I was kind of shocked. Oh God. At the homecoming dance, Brittany kind of calls out everyone, and then Winnie's like, well, let's do a cheer. And it felt so passive aggressive and pointless, but they're like, introduce yourself. No way. Okay, I'm Joseph and this is my friend Nick. Nick, introduce yourself. No way. Okay. So when it's Brittany's turn, this bitch starts crumping. And the subtitles will tell you that she's scatting. But she's like, shabuya, shabuya, ya, shabuya. Break it down, break it down. Oh my God. It made my skin crawl.
It was also, was this a tendency that I just missed because I was a pretentious asshole? Did people
say that again?
I was
a
pretentious asshole. I now am a recovering pretentious asshole.
You have just said this to a number of people who have listened to you talk for countless hours.
I'm sure they already think it. I'm sure they already think it. It's fine. I don't mind.
Press 3 in the comments if you think Nick is a recovered pretentious asshole.
I'm not out
Press
here.
2 in the comments if you think he's currently a pretentious
You're either on my vibe, you're on my wavelength, you're on my vibe, or you're not. Whatever. Anyhow, did anybody speak in IMs? What is that? I mean, I know what that is, but why would you do that?
I guess.
Ugh.
I don't know.
Oh, that was giving me goosebumps, pimples. Where it's like, ooh, I can't wait till she's done doing that.
Okay, the competition for Rihanna's computers. Those cheers were a mess. I'm sorry. We see Pacific Vista and Crenshaw Heights do their cheers. They were a mess. They were all over the place. The shit didn't make any sense. The way it's shot, it just feels like there are continuity issues.
What did Susan Powter say in that off-quoted RuPaul judging
It was hokey.
It was hokey. It was no good.
Yeah, I really, really thought those cheers were a mess. And then that poor cheer girl on Pacific Vista, who they keep calling fat, even though she's not, she collapses.
Because she hasn't been eating.
She hasn't been eating.
Okay, Karen Carpenter. And then they give her like a chocolate bar to revive her, and they do her so dirty again. They make her seem like an animal.
I know.
She's got chocolate all over her mouth. And it ruins the touching moment of Ms. Panettiere coming over and saying, I need to apologize to you for what I said to you about your weight. And that they make this little white girl look crazy. Why would you do that to her?
So the final showdown where Rihanna is going to watch them perform, it was very confusing to me because all of a sudden Crenshaw Heights decides that they're going to
change it up. Yes.
And then they change clothes. You know what it reminded me of?
American Life.
Back in 2000, the American Life video by Madonna, or back in like 2000, I don't know, maybe like 12, Janet Jackson was on the Ellen Show and she performed Rhythm Nation among, I think, 2 other songs. And I didn't love her look during this performance.
Is that where she has that Cocker Spaniel wig on?
No, that's the Discipline era where she performed Feedback on like Good Morning America and other things.
Yeah.
This was after that.
Okay.
Where she has longer hair, but she's wearing like camo with like a ribbed black.
You showed me this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where these costumes were sitting because they decide to make this change as Pacific Vista is performing. And how long can a performance be? At the most 10 minutes.
And then these
kids rehearse an entirely new routine and change outfits.
They're like going hip dips, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they're there and they take over the dance floor.
Well, they like battle dance, but then they start crumping. And the way these white girls act like they're in a horror movie was so funny to me.
It was kind of satisfying. But okay, the one... I was starting to write it multiple times, but I just circled it. And I said this to you how many times during this movie? Where are the adults managing anything except for those 2 judges who, by the way, Rihanna doesn't even bother talking to before she makes her. It's very Canada's Drag Race. It's just Brooklyn saying, I've decided.
Well, the teams are finished. It's time for Rihanna to choose, but she sees Winnie and Brittany fighting and Winnie making these racist comments. Brittany says, hey, you guys, Pacific Vista, you can vote out your cheer captain and pick a new one.
She used the word mutiny, which was something I said earlier during the watch.
So one of the girls says, everyone who votes to replace Winnie as cheer captain, raise your hand. And Rihanna voted.
Rihanna.
I thought that was funny.
But truly, there are no adults anywhere.
But that's often a thing I complain about in teen movies. But maybe that's the problem.
When Jesse is very suggestively crumping on Hayden Panettierre, and what does Tyson say? Like, oh, he got his gasket out. He's about to make her pregnant on this gymnasium floor.
So where does this film fit into the franchise? There are 5 Bring It On movies. The first one we all know with Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union, Bring It On in 2000, Bring It On again in 2004. This film, Bring It On, All or Nothing 2006. In 2007, we had Bring It On, In It to Win It. And the final installment, well, we shouldn't say final because if we're lucky, we might get another one. But the last installment in 2009 was called Bring It On, Fight to the Finish.
Oh, so yeah, we must have another because they never made it to space or Manhattan.
But from what I understand, all of the films follow the same formula where it's like rival cheer squads. There's some sort of cultural or class conflict, stolen choreography, and then a big showdown, like final competition thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the good thing is that it makes plopping into any of them really easy. Like you don't have to know the other movies.
Right.
And I will say this film, having not seen 3 of the others, this does feel like a 2006 cultural artifact.
It does. And maybe I was just in a mood. This was a decent afternoon film to watch. I think I was feeling sad, not only about young women and how they have to navigate the world in general, but about Hayden Panettiere's death. And I don't know. It was a nostalgic blast from the past for something that I didn't see at the time. Although
I think it's a cute thing to put on like on a Friday night at home with some snacks. And I think while Brittany was annoying to me, Hayden Panettierre was really cute. Her smile's really cute. She's really bubbly in it. So I'm glad I saw it and to see her.
I'm too. For cheerleading films, I prefer something a couple years before this, The Hot Chick, even though it does star that douchebag Rob Schneider. But to me, that film kind of has a really good message in it too about acceptance and some interesting ruminations on gender. But that there you have it.
What would you give Bring It On, All or Nothing?
Okay, don't be shocked. I'm being inordinately kind. I'm giving it 2.5.
I don't think this is a good movie. It's kind of a mess as a production.
Yeah, I do.
That being said, I did giggle a lot. I do think some of the interactions. Actually, Brittany and Jesse, I wouldn't have minded sort of a little teen rom-com with those two.
I thought they had more chemistry than Julia Stiles in Save the Last Dance.
Oh, for sure.
Like that. There's something really that was touching and heartfelt about it that would pop up through the ridiculousness, and I did appreciate that.
Also, I could have seen it. I would have loved a little trio of Brittany, Camille, and Carisha, but them being like genuine friends, navigating, like maybe them in college and navigating school and maybe a job. So there are bright spots in this movie.
The moment on the rooftop in the smog, that romantic smog, where Jesse says something about how Camille used to be a gangbanger because Brittany said, I saw boys in the hood. So because Jesse said Camille had been a gangbanger, and that alarms Brittany.
There are funny, if not heavy-handed moments.
Because but then he says, well, I saw Clueless and I still invited your ass up here. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I would give this film 2 out of 5. What do we have coming this week?
A lot.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
Well, I know I'm seeing Idiots tonight.
Yes.
And I'm seeing The Dog Stars next week.
Yeah, new Ridley Scott.
Other than that, I'm not aware of anything else.
Season 3, Beauty in Black.
Oh, gosh. We're going to have to binge watch part 1 of season 3.
Yeah. Yes.
To try to get it out to the people.
Because
we have plans this weekend, so there's not a lot of time to watch. And then so we might end up watching all 8 episodes on Thursday.
I think that is the only way we're going to get through it because I have to travel to Italy on Sunday.
We're also contemplating this book club situation. So more info to come.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
Ta-ta.